Master Control. And I think I made a mistake before. It's the pre-budget consultations that have been going on. So welcome back. We started right here on The Observer with yours truly, Mikey K. And joining me from the UNC headquarters for the first interview is Minister of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs, the Honorable Sean Sobers. Good evening to you, sir.
Good evening, Mikey. Good evening to your viewers. Thank you for having me on this evening.
It's a pleasure having you on. I think by now everyone has heard the news. Kamala Persad-Bissessar is again for another term the political leader of the United National Congress. And
Yes.
That, of course, unopposed. She
Unopposed.
has for a new term. What's the feeling like down there? Give us an idea.
Well, I think you and your viewers can judge based upon the feedback that you're hearing right now. There's an environment of euphoria, of contentment. Persons are excited, and we are very much now more than ever focused on moving forward as this chapter has been closed, and the party basically, essentially, has endorsed the leadership of Mrs. Persad-Bissessar, not only as Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, where she was given that mandate on the 28th of April, but now continuing in the post of political leader of the United National Congress.
She said she made it quite clear, of course, sometime back at a Monday night report. If you want it, come get it. If you want to challenge me, step forward. She said it was open to each and every one. But yet still unopposed. I think that basically we can say and confirm that no one took God out of their thoughts to think about putting their hat in the ring.
Well, that is true. And I mean, it also signals to the country that the UNC remains a very strong democratic party. And we had our processes engaged from the national executive perspective after having a meeting, putting the relevant machinery in place to host an election. The relevant timetables as it pertains to nominations were also duly advertised, and persons were well aware as to when the deadline was. And no announcement was made by anyone, especially in this case the designated authority, being the Elections Management Committee, that was charged with that responsibility to do so by 4 p.m. this afternoon. And so at 4 p.m. this afternoon, when no one filed nominations against the political leader, other than the political leader herself, the Elections Management Committee, as authorized by the Constitution, made the relevant announcement. And Mrs. Persad-Bissessar was the lone candidate. She was the candidate unopposed. And based upon that, and pursuant to our Constitution, they would have endorsed and signaled and authorized her as the duly representative, the duly political leader of the United National Congress, duly authorized leader of the of the United National Congress.
Now, from a personal perspective, I want to ask you, what is it about her leadership that really and truly, that you seem to gravitate to, and best of all, embrace?
For me, boy, there are so many things, Mikey, and to your audience. But one of the things that stands out is the fact that she has always been someone that I can go to, and she's nurtured a lot of the dreams and aspirations that I've had. She's been someone to give me the advice required to go out there and execute accordingly in a successful way any challenges that I may have faced, not only political challenges, but individually in my own personal life. She's been someone that I could lean on and point me in the right direction. And I think politically, for me, one of the lowest points that I think I may have been on would have been after the general 2020 election, when I was not successful. I poured my heart out in that election. And one of the very first persons to call me minutes after 8:30 that night, when the results came in and I was unsuccessful, was the political leader. So in the midst of all that was occurring on that day in August in 2020, she still found the time to place the phone calls, provide me with some words of support. And that type of tether, that type of connection continues to this very day, where we have that relationship where she continues to give that support, continues to give advice, stellar advice. And as I said, that the genesis of my contribution, not only in terms of my professional career, but also in terms of my personal life. We are very close. She's very close to my family. And we love the fact that she's a part of our family now, both politically and personally.
Yeah, very much so. Now, it's been a few weeks. I mean, some people have been calculating it. It's less than 100 days. You've been, of course, sitting there, the Minister of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs. How has that experience been in this short space of time?
Well, it's been a very wonderful experience, quite testing as well, too. I am very grateful, one, to have, as I said before, the advice and the leadership of the political leader in terms of running the ministry. But also, equally, I would want to say, and definitely not to leave them out, the staff of the ministry plays a very pivotal role. I have an excellent permanent secretary who's taken on the mantle from a very great permanent secretary that we had before who sat in the position for a number of years. But this current permanent secretary we have, he has a lot of experience in trade and international investment, which is a large part of foreign affairs that people overlook. They think foreign affairs is just a talk job. But we have a lot, or a huge role to play in engineering those trade and investment deals, also that will be down to the benefit of the country, pursuant to our relationships with many different nations. And then in terms of the staff complement of the ministry, a lot of praise needs to be heaped upon them as well too, because they play an extremely pivotal role in all that I do. I can rely on them from everything that I get myself engaged in. I get very competent briefs from them, and they are always available. It's a 24/7 job, this Foreign Affairs Ministry, and I have 24/7 support.
Wonderful. You mentioned something, and I think a lot of people don't understand just how important is it for us to have good diplomatic relationships, not just within our CARICOM region, but of course internationally as well. Just how important is that?
Well, let me tell you something. Every single economic, national security, energy, cultural, political issue that may take root in some form or fashion has to come from some ministry. The Foreign Affairs Ministry is that ministry. We ensure that, one, we find a fertile ground for all of those other ministries to operate, and two, we also shadow the process to ensure that we don't trip any diplomatic relations that may have existed with other countries before. So what happens is we have to ensure then that if country A is engaging with us, we ensure that the parameters of that engagement does not for any form or fashion offend country C, D, E, or F down the alphabetical line. That is one of the things that we manage. So we work with all the ministries on their memorandums of understandings, on their contracts, on their procurements from foreign countries and jurisdictions, mutual relations that we would have in terms of cooperation, and all of the things that I mentioned with politics, energy, economics, education, culture. So the ministry plays that pivotal role in beginning that relationship, and then cultivating that relationship to not only its I wouldn't say its end, but moving it on so it to adapt and morph into something even bigger or better as the months and as the years go by.
Yeah, we have so many different platforms, as when you talk about TikTok and Instagram and all of these platforms, which highlights the lifestyles of people across the region and internationally. You spoke at one of the post-cabinet conferences recently, and you said that if people wanted to move throughout the Caribbean, they had to get a CSME skills certificate from the Ministry of Foreign of CARICOM Affairs. We've been hearing so much about the CMSE for quite some time. You have people who say, listen, I want to go and perhaps do some barbering or some work in Jamaica, Antigua, as the case may be. Why has this become so challenging to have such a policy up and running?
Well, Mikey, I would want to humbly correct that statement if it is, or sentiment, if it is one that is being um, passed on or even um, transferred. You see, essentially, the position is this. The CSME skill certificate is not a difficult thing to procure. Once you have the relevant certificate that has been recognized by a competent institution within the region, it is simple for you to now make an application to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the CSME division under the ministry will entertain the application and grant it accordingly. What is happening now is that there's a conversation that has been taking place for some time to widen that ability for persons to procure the CSME skill certificate. And basically, to an extent, not abolishing it, but building upon it, so that persons are now being able, or they would be able now to freely move throughout the region without this skill certificate. So if you fall under one of the categories that is currently captured by the CSME, barber, a security person, a lawyer, a doctor, an engineer, an architect, you take a certificate from UE or wherever else you procured it, get the CSME's unit to vet it, and then they provide you the skill certificate and you can move throughout the Caribbean region. What this new proposal is about is that you don't need to have that skill certificate. You don't need to fall within one of these categories, and you can then basically just move on throughout the Caribbean on your own volition and settle, in varying jurisdictions. Some jurisdictions have conditionalities as opposed to others, but that is the conversation that is being had. We believe as a government that conversation needs to go through a consultative process now with the country at large to figure out whether or not Trinbagonians want to open themselves up to that type of movement. And that is what I indicated at the press conference.
Yeah, I know, because many people are saying that the feedback is it's a bit challenging to get everything set up as far as documentation, what have you. But basically what I'm hearing from you is that the process is not as difficult as many would believe.
No, very, very easy as a matter of fact. And the personnel at the ministry, they are very, very, they facilitate all forms of applications. And they engage with persons. When they send in their application, they treat it expeditiously. Sometimes for the week, I sign over 60 CSME applications that come to my desk. The team at the ministry works overtime to ensure that persons are successful. So it's not a difficult venture at all.
Right. You also mentioned about a major issue. I know there's a lot of activity going on where you are, but many people are still weighing in on this, the whole UK visa situation, which of course you said was brought about by neglect from the former administration. Can you give us an update on how things are coming along with that?
Well, it's a work in progress, but yes, you're correct. This situation really, the genesis of the situation found itself based upon certain information that came to the last administration sometime in around November or December of last year. And based upon an alert that came to them, that if no intervention would have been made by the previous administration, the British would have been left with no option or alternative but to impose this visa restriction. And nothing was done by the previous administration in relation to that warning, in relation to that information. And it was left to linger for some time. And then in March, without having any other option, the British imposed the visa restriction. So we are now working assiduously. We took the first step by forming an interministerial cabinet committee to look at the issue, to come up with some suggestions that we believe are tangible to possibly have the British reconsider their position. We had a meeting with them, or at least 2 meetings with them thus far. We have had some proposals put to them, and they are now considering those proposals, and we expect them to get back to us within short order. There is a position that they are going to forward to us within a matter of days, maybe a matter of weeks, that I think would reflect some degree of content by the population, and it will be the foundation for us to continue to build They by no means did this thing as a knee-jerk reaction. As I said before, Trinidad and Tobago under the last administration was given sufficient time to deal with it, and they paid no heed, so we are now in the position we are in currently.
All right. As a matter of fact, one of the folks that are locked on us is asking the question, of course, to deal with folks in terms of those who are seeking asylum to escape being a victim of crime. There's one individual always locked on, always listening, who had to take his entire family and flee to the UK, and hopefully he would like to return home as soon as possible.
Can you repeat the question, Mikey? The excitement in the background.
Yeah. I understand. Here. No, one of our avid viewers are asking about the people who are seeking asylum to escape being a victim of crime. We know that's an issue. He had to flee this country with his entire family, and would like to know if anything at least is being, dealt with to help with this situation.
Well, that's a very tricky question, so that I won't be able to answer that. I mean, is it that he's already left? I don't know.
Yes,
he has left.
Yes, he's out of the country. Right. He's out.
And where is he currently at?
He's in the UK, as a matter of fact.
Right, so that, I suspect that the UK authorities are treating with his concern.
Yes.
So that if that is the case, then I won't be able to comment on that. That's something that the UK authorities would be more able to answer on, and they would be better poised to so do. I wouldn't want to comment on that because it's not a Trinidadian issue. It's an application that has been made to them, and they are really the relevant authority to make comments, any comments on that.
All right. And in dealing with the situation, they will, of course, need some information from his home country.
No, that information wouldn't come from us. As a matter of fact, as I said, it would come from them. There's an application that is made, and that application has the veracity of the same has to be vetted by the UK authorities, and they do so in their own way, without assistance from Trinidad and Tobago in relation to that.
All right, wonderful. How do you then? Many people are weighing in and talking about that. It seems as though we're no longer being, given that embrace when it comes to traveling. You talk about Bermuda imposing the visa regime on citizens of this country and what have you.
Yeah, but that's not true, though. Unfortunately, Bermuda is a country that is airlocked. Insofar as to get to Bermuda, there's really only 3 airlines or 3 countries that you will have to fly through to get to Bermuda, which is the UK, the US, and Canada. And because Trinidad and Tobago nationals require US, UK, and Canadian visas, in order for you to go to Bermuda, you need to procure one of those, and that is what it has put us in that position. But as I commented when I had a lengthy discussion with the Premier of Bermuda, Mr. Burke, he said to me, if a Trinbagonian citizen is on a boat and he finds himself in Bermuda, Bermuda will not turn him away because he does not require a visa to come to Bermuda. That is the reality of the position.
Beautiful. Yeah, because, there's so much talk being bandied about, and you would notice, of course, once you're in the arena, you would hear people making whatever narrative that may be for their own political agenda or for their own gain, as if to say that we have been given this diplomatic black eye for whatever reason, that our citizens are being, not being, should I say, accepted at certain borders. But I'm glad that you cleared that up. That's a big misconception. I know there's a lot of other things that you're dealing with. Some you may not be able to dive right into. But for the past few weeks that you have been there has been some success stories, and you have been able to deal with some low-hanging fruits. If you could please share that with us.
Yes, so again, we attended the CARICOM Heads of Government. There were a number of issues that were raised. There have been some bilateral agreements that we were able to execute and engage with persons who attended. We had a lot of lengthy meetings and successful meetings with Austria, who was there. We had a successful meeting with Jamaica. We had a successful meeting with St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua and Barbuda. We've had some discussions with Bermuda as well, too, the very same Bermuda. We continue to work with our CARICOM partners to ensure that regionalism is at the forefront of our minds. We've had some engagements with the Venezuelans as well, too, and the Americans as well, too. We've had engagements with many, many, many nations: Japan, the European Union, Spain. We've had engagements with CAF. We've had engagements with the UACS, the ACS. So there are a lot of things on the burner right now that we have cooking that I think Trinidad and Tobago will be quite proud of once we're able to successfully bring those things to fruition. We've had some high-level meetings with members of the Middle East, and I think within the next couple of weeks, we'll be in a position to make some very positive announcements based upon those relations and meetings that we've had with persons from the Middle East. I know a lot of Trinbagonians are very much interested in that, especially our Islamic community, but it will also benefit Trinidad and Tobago as a whole once we're able to make those types of announcements. But Trinidad and Tobago remains the place to be. No matter what the detractors may say about our positions around the world, we are still globally accepted as one of the premier nations within the Caribbean. We share that spotlight with all our Caribbean partners, but we are viewed as one of the spots to be. We continue to have good relations regionally and internationally. And I know for certain, especially based upon our political leader, our Prime Minister, Trinbagonians have nothing to fear. Their government is working very assiduously for them.
Minister, I want to thank you so much this evening for giving us some insightful information. I mean, it goes to show you that, when you have all these different narratives and people trying to get political traction and get political mileage out of a story, that the amount of things that have been stated. And here it is that you were able to come on and, of course, clear the air on many of these matters. We're glad to know that you're conversing with our counterparts, the people across the region and internationally as well. And I want to say to you, keep up the good work along with your entire team of the ministry. And again, we will be checking in with you periodically.
Of course, and I mean, a simple visit that we went, well, it's not so simple, but a very high-level visit within our first month, 6 weeks of office, would have been having one of the world's greatest superpowers, India, the Prime Minister of India, population of 1.6 billion, the largest democracy in the known world, to visit Trinidad and Tobago. A state visit which has brought significant goodies to Trinidad and Tobago, which would bear themselves out within the next couple of weeks. And that is all based upon the astute leadership of the Prime Minister and an all-of-government approach which we've been seeing throughout our campaign and as a new government, an all-of-government approach in terms of bringing the resources, bringing the government to bear, bringing the government to the people and not the other way around. That disconnect no longer exists, and that is the type of governance that you would go to expect and appreciate from this particular administration. Foreign Affairs is playing its part, and will continue to do so successfully.
Right. Before you go, I just need to ask you, in your constituency, I know there's been pre-budget consultations, is that correct?
Yes, we've had pre-budget consultations last week Tuesday. This Tuesday coming up, we will have our stand your ground consultations. We have a batch of attorneys that will be joining us there. We expect to have a bumper-to-bumper crowd of persons who will be there as well too. And we hope that persons will be well informed when they leave the meeting as to what the government's position is on this particular matter.
All right. I want to thank you again so much. I know you want to, of course, get involved in the celebrations down there at the UNC headquarters. Again, thank you so much for taking time out this evening and giving us the information that we so much look forward to and clearing the air on many of these issues. Thank you so much again.
No problem, Mickie. Thank you.
Keep up the good work. Thank you.
Cheers to your viewers. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Well, folks, there you have it. That's the Minister of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs, the Honorable Sean Sobers, of course, giving us some insight on what's been taking place at his ministry and his entire team. And again, many people have been making it, seem like as if we are being blacklisted from whatever. But he said, no, there's been conversations that have been going on, not just regionally, but of course internationally, as far as even the Arab states. So very interesting indeed. Don't forget Turmeric XL is a once daily turmeric supplement that allows you to get the benefits of a large dose in a very small, easy to swallow capsule. Turmeric XL contains a proprietary ingredient ultra curcumin, which has been shown in humans to increase the levels of bioactive curcumin in the blood with 45 times more active curcumin than the competition. So you actually need way more turmeric than you think to see the benefits. So please, pick up your bottle of Turmeric XL today. We'll be right back after this short message.
Where does disease start? It often begins silently. No pain, no symptoms, just inflammation quietly damaging your body. Our choices, food, stress, pollution, all feed inflammation. Chronic inflammation is the root cause of many modern diseases.
You can't go back in time, but you can start addressing inflammation before it becomes disease.
Omega XL is a natural inflammation fighter clinically researched with over 30 fatty acids and no fishy aftertaste. Available Caribbean-wide at pharmacies and health food stores. Call 1-868-225-0410 for more information.
Husqvarna, a global leader in outdoor power equipment, known for its high performance, durable and innovative products, tested and proven by generations of professionals. Full after sales and service support whenever you need it. Contact Provar Distributors Limited, 223-9438 to find a dealer near you.
If you live with diabetes, your pancreas works overtime every single day. Between our rich foods and busy lives, chronic inflammation can sneak in, stressing the pancreas and raising the risk of complications. Over time, inflammation can damage these cells, making blood sugar harder to control.
Protecting your pancreas from inflammation is a smart way to support healthy blood sugar management.
Backed by science, Omega XL is a natural anti-inflammatory with over 30 free fatty acids, proven to help reduce inflammation at its source. Learn more online or ask your local pharmacist.
For all top quality and affordable hardware supplies, no one beats Midland Hardware, located number 97 Eastern Main Road, Aruca. Midland stocks the #1 brands in hand tools, garden tools, water tanks, power washers, generators, water pumps, kitchen and bathroom faucets, along with face basins and toilet sets, blocks, lumber, steel, sand, gravel and topsoil. Also check out Midland for steel windows and assorted designs of metal curtain rods. Everything for home and business projects. Payments via links, credit cards, online payments, or cash on delivery. WhatsApp 327-7761 or call 646-2144. Open every day from 8 a.m. From foundation to finish, it's all at Midland.
Is high blood sugar the root cause of diabetes? Most people think high blood sugar is the problem. The truth, it's inflammation. Insulin resistance is the root cause of diabetes. Reducing that inflammation is key. Omega XL is a natural option. Not fish oil, but a patented green-lipped muscle extract with over 30 fatty acids, including EPA and DHA. Clinically studied, backed by over 30 years of research. Stay tuned.
Omega XL. Power your health.
When you say TNT's construction boss, then there's only one company, Lacroix Construction Services Limited, specializing in general construction, industrial maintenance, manpower resources, transportation and lifting, and equipment rental, excavators, bulldozers, dump trucks, lighting systems, and everything for your project. We have affordable prices. Call now 267-0000 or 431-0012. Lacroix Construction Services Limited, TNT's construction boss. And we're back. Thank you so much, Master Control. And we'll be joined by a lady who is no stranger to the Observer. Always a pleasure to have her on, really and truly. Let me say a pleasant Sunday good evening to political analyst Dr. Indira Rampasad. Good evening, ma'am.
Hi, Mikey K. How are you?
Well, a lot better hearing your voice, I must say. It's good to have you on as always. And I think by now you know that the UNC Election Management Committee has announced that the Honorable Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar, SCMP, is the duly elected political leader unopposed for a new term. Does that come as a surprise to you?
Not at all. So one wouldn't have expected anyone to dare to oppose her, given her resounding victory at the general elections on April 28th. And it would have been normal for her to win, even if she had opponents. And in the past, she had opponents. She won every time, and she won landslide victories, whether it was one opponent or two. She flogged them all. So this news is no surprise to me at all, none at all. So it is expected, and I want to take the opportunity to heartily congratulate her on her re-election as political leader of the UNC.
Yeah, quite an audience turnout, the crowd turnout at the headquarters. We have some pictures up on the screen and what have you. What does this mean? I mean, we're talking about someone, and I think she opened up on the campaign. The last general elections recently held. And she said, listen, I have been politically battered, politically bruised, but I've stood here strong, I've taken it all, and with a sense of, feeling vindicated after all was said and done, she's still there. I mean, she's still there, and she still has that full support. What does it mean going forward?
It means that she's managed remarkably to hold the party together, even in opposition and amidst all the naysayers, all the negativities from the naysayers, that she's unelectable, that she can never be in government again, that she's lost all these elections. One of the things we as political scientists always say is never say never. I think she's a master strategist. I think that the April 28th general election, apart from the faux pas of the PNM and the mess that they found themselves in and mess that they left the country in, I think the victory was also largely due to her capacity to strategize and her experience, bring enormous experience. She's been in the trenches in the opposition for ages, as far as we can remember, going back to the 80s, I believe, with the NAR and then ULF, UNC. So she's been in the trenches. She's fought for, in the 90s, she fought for the deputy political leadership. She fought against Carlos John and Ramesh Lawrence Maraj, and she flogged both of them in that election, if you would recall. So, she's got tremendous tenacity and stamina. That is very clear. Despite her frail, what she calls, frail outlook, the mind is working very, very well, and that is obvious when she comes to the podium, to the forum, in the public arena, that her mind is working very well. So, I think she has a solid 5 years ahead of her as Prime Minister. And I think opposition leadership is every 3 years, if I'm not mistaken. And so she's probably will weather another opposition leader election, for all that we know. Sorry, political leader election. Yeah. So for all that we know, she may weather another one. But we'll see what will happen in 5 years after her elected term as Prime Minister.
What stands out most of all, I had Minister Sean Sobers on, Minister of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs. I asked him from a personal perspective, his relationship with her, and he said, listen, it's something rather close. He said that when he lost in the elections before, that is, he felt bad, but she was there to pick him up and give him that inspiration and let him know, listen, the fight continues. I mean, she seems to have that, gift to connect with people on a level that, when you look at it, many leaders don't seem to have that emotional outreach. Is it fair to say, is it because she's a woman, or is it that she has a greater sense of understanding of what people would need and how to assist them?
I think she has a gift. And, good leaders are not easy to come by. And good leaders have to remain focused on the issues at all times. I'm a leader myself, Mickie. I'm leader of a union. I'm head of political science at UE. And in a lot of ways, I have to lead my members too. And have to, it's like sometimes my vice chancellor actually commended my leadership of the union, and these were his words that, you know, you have to walk on eggshells sometimes, because it's precarious, it's dangerous sometimes, and you have to be careful of crushing everyone beneath or falling over the cliff, so to speak. But one of the methods that she uses, I notice, and I sometimes learn from it, is you remain focused on the issues. You don't get sidetracked with all the bacchanal and all the nonsense. Yes, there is time for politicking. There is time for, you know, the old talk and the hustings. But when it comes down to the brass tacks and you have work to do, and you have to get the work done, you have to be focused. You also have to let those around you know, and without being a bully and without being a hog, that you're serious. You have to be firm and assertive without being aggressive. You know, so this is what I mean. It's your tenterhooks, and you have to undertake this balancing act, because it's easier to be prime minister when you are not. You know, I did a presentation when Obama was going up for the presidency in 2008 at UE, and this was the title of my presentation. It's easier to be president when you are not. Similarly, it's easier to be prime minister when you are not. In other words, when you're in opposition, you can speak about all the things that you would like to see change, that you would like to do. But when you're in the hot seat now and you have to do it, you have to appease multiple stakeholders. So she will have UNC constituents on the one hand, but she also have the national community, the nation, and as prime minister, that is her focus, not just the UNC constituents, that is at the party level. Okay, then there is also the regional stakeholders and the international stakeholders. So we have international politics at play. I heard you talking about the UK visa and all that just now with the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Prime Minister has a critical role to play. She would have to keep advising her Foreign Affairs Minister, who was just with us there, Mr. Sobers. She also has to advise all her other ministers. So there is also the local dimension, you know, the local stakeholders, her ministers, her MPs, her senators. She has to guide them. She has to guide them along what she considers to be the right, the sensible, and the reasonable path, you know, and rational. They have to be rational. Not so much emotions. You can't bring too much emotions into this mix, Mikey K.
Sure.
You have to be rational at all times, and you have to be level-headed, which means that you have to eat well and you have to sleep well at the same time. Because if you're under a lot of stress and under a lot of anxiety and you are on a medication, you know that the brain processes are affected. So I personally stay away from coffee and caffeine because I believe that it would affect my brain negatively. But that's me personally.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people use it. But I think that she really has to be commended. She's inherited a terrible state of a country with an economy in shambles, with crime galloping out of proportion. She's keeping true to her word in terms of some of the legislation that she wants to enact. And we're really hoping, Mikey K, that would help with the crime situation. I think she would eventually get the economy right. She has a lot of good advisors, and I like the way she's going forward with it.
Yeah, you know, you spoke about the fact that she has inherited quite a lot. I mean, let's take, for example, the CPEP and the URP issue. When you talk about the amount of money that has been spent, I don't want to use the word wastage if I do in commas, but a lot of wanton wastage and what have you. How then can she get a hold of that? I mean, the horse has bolted out of the stable. It has created somewhat of a social culture where people expect to get these things because perhaps it was political favors or political handouts. How difficult would it be to rein it back in and get it back on track?
So, Mikey K, I always believe that we are all granted an intellect and a mind to think. And so what is needed for URP and CPEP is a solid proposal for sustainable employment. This is not, that you're gonna have temporary employment. You keep them busy for a while, and then what? And it's the same thing with the OJTs, because many of my graduates are getting these 2 years, which they can only get 2 years maximum OJT, and then afterwards they cannot find jobs. So they have to now think through. She needs a proposal, a good solid proposal of how to create sustainable employment. And it would require some of these URP or CPEP workers are not highly educated, like my UE graduates, for example, and they would need training. They would need to be trained. I mean, even if it is trained in cutting grass through mechanization, for example, rather than doing it manually, being able to drive the tractor to cut the grass. They will need some expertise to come in there, so that they can have sustainable employment, and they would be able to send their children to school and support them, support their families, and their life and livelihood generally. Which also brings me to the whole issue of the labor situation. Right. I know the public servants are waiting anxiously for their increase. And WTU workers, we have a lot of other unions that didn't settle. My union is waiting patiently as well. We settled, and the increase was enacted, but the back pay has not yet been paid. So they're waiting patiently for the back pay. Many of them thought that it would be paid in June, because this is what the campus management had promised. Government, however, had changed, and I had to advise that due to the change in government, there would be a delay. But, the 2% and the 2% that the last government was throwing at the workers led to some extent the trade union movement joining with the UNC and eventually forming the government. So they would have contributed to the victory as well, and that has to be addressed. I understand it's 2 months, April 20, May, June. We're going into 3 months.
3 months, yeah.
And that's short in the lifespan, but hopefully by the end of the year, they would get a Christmas package. I'm talking generally of the unsettled wage negotiations for these unions.
Yeah, but what do you say when you hear people weigh in and talk about the fact that, listen, we want it now? I mean, there has been no sort of negotiations going on for quite some time, but they expect that, listen, this is what we voted on, this is what we expected, and we want it as quickly as possible. Does that put some sort of pressure on the Prime Minister and her team? But then, in fact, if it's not there, what needs to be done?
There's a level of thinking that when you elect a government, they have to give you everything you want immediately. And in reality, and this is why I say we have to always be rational and reasonable, and as citizens as well, not just as leaders, but as citizens as well. They just came in. They had to review the state of the economy. And in the first month, they were giving us feedback on that. We know that there's like some $18 billion deficit. We see massive amount of wastage, wastage of money going down the drain. The rentals, a huge rental cost, which many, opposition members enjoyed. So they have to now try to recoup some of that waste. They also have to try to generate income, which she's doing with her energy drive, reopening a Petro Trinidad proposal, and other initiatives, ties with India, and I'm sure she's going to forge ties with some other countries to generate revenue for the country. This doesn't happen overnight. It cannot happen overnight. So I think what may happen with the trade union settlement, the over anxiety that we experiencing, it came with an expectation that if you win the election, you made a promise, if you win, you would pay. But you can't pay it. You couldn't have promised that you would pay it in a month or 2 months. So they have to wait a little bit, let them strategize, let them find the money. And I really believe that they have every intention of fulfilling their obligations to the union and their promises. I really do believe that. I can't see Prasad Bisesa coming on platform night after night, making these promises and now reneging now that she's in government. She's not the type to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, I agree with you on that. I think that, you know, she has been making it quite clear that, you know, what the plans are, but again, time is needed to get these things implemented. I mean, there may be some low-hanging fruit, but if you had to look at the amount of time, as you said, it hasn't even been 3 months as yet, yet we hear about so much of the accomplishments, what is taking place. That, I think that speaks volumes.
Yes, it's remarkable how much they have done, and they've all hit the ground running. In addition to which, they've been facing severe flooding. And, you know, the floods and they require the energies and the, you know, all of them coming together to try to deal with this, because this is an immediate and emergency crisis that they have to address. People are losing their entire homes, all their belongings and whatnot in these floods. And they've had to deal with more than one spate of floods since they came in addition to this economy in shambles and this crime situation. So, you know, a little bit of patience, I think, would go a long way. For the citizens themselves, even if they didn't vote the government, just wait a little bit, and you know, good things come to those who wait. So I think they're on the right path. I believe that they're all very, very eager to enact change, positive change. She has a very strong team, and you know, I have to say that when they were being sworn in, I was quite impressed with the team that she has. When I saw the swearing in particular, you know, even though, you know, they were going up for candidates, but you actually see them holding ministerial portfolios, and I thought to myself, okay, this is a solid team, and I think the population can have some trust and confidence in their capacity to deliver, which is what they're waiting on, which is what the citizens are waiting on. They're waiting on them.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. Now, when you look at the role of the opposition, I mean, one would think that it would more to weigh in on, you know, accountability, transparency, and the issues in the interest of the citizens to make sure that, you know, good governance is being brought to the table. But when you hear certain statements that can be a bit divisive and being used by, I believe, one Marvin Gonzalez, the way how the boards are being put together, making comments as such as he doesn't know whether he's in Bombay or New Delhi, as the case may be, making, you know, talking in such a manner. What does that tell us? I mean, what's expected to gain from that?
What that tells us is that you have nothing better to say. You have nothing better to say. You just suffered a crushing defeat in an election of which you were a part. Everybody complaining, and people complain about the composition of the boards under the PNM too. You know, there are a lot of people who were excluded, and you know, there were complaints. There were that kind of complaints as well. But the point is that what they need to do is to try to be a little more proactive and take a more positive stance on how they're going to rebuild the PNM, because that party is now in a mess. And as it is divided. And, you know, there's a Stuart Young faction there, and there's a Penny faction there. And that kind of divisiveness does not augur well for a party in opposition, because you can end up staying there in the political wilderness for a long time. And as we know in Westminster, system of governance, winner takes it all. When you're in opposition, you're really in the doldrums. So I think they have to strategize on how they're going to build the party. A robust and a strong opposition is important for a healthy democracy, and I would always support that. I'm glad to see that Prasad Bitesa, even though unopposed, still held the elections for the political leader of the UNC, because that is a democratic way to go. The PNM learned that lesson, and they themselves follow suit when they had the internal elections, because the formula that Keith Rowley was trying to foist on the PNM supporters and on the population of you know, unilaterally appointing Stuart Young as Prime Minister does not work. It backfired badly, as we saw on April 28th.
Yeah, and again, the issue of communication. I mean, you hear so many people talking about the fact that a lot of the media reports are a bit skewed. They're biased. They're not in balance when it comes to their reporting. You even had the Minister of Economic Affairs, Minister Kennedy Sowatsing, who had to deal with the fact that Mr. Imbut claimed that under this administration, that unemployment has risen. I mean, we were talking about less than 3 months. Now, when information like this is being bandied about, people are going to get the wrong idea. They're going to be looking at the wrong narrative. How does that, do you think that communication is something that needs to be tightened and tightened quickly as possible?
Yes, I believe so. I believe that the government also has some media at their disposal. They have TTT, they have one that was previously CNMG under the partnership, and they might have to reformulate that whole media house. The media has a critical role to play in reporting unbiased news, but I don't know who is listening to Mr. Imbert. In any event, I don't know who is listening to him. He won his seat, but he was by no means a favorite in the last government. So to talk about the unemployment rate rising in 3 months, is he adding CPEP to that? Is he calling that unemployment? Because what is really happening, and this is my belief, my understanding, is that they're revamping the whole program in order to come up with something better. So to improve it, this is my understanding. I have always questioned their announcement of the inflation rate being 4% or 4.5%, because I see the escalating price of food, fuel, transportation, and housing in the country, and you're telling me about that inflation rate being 4%. Just wasn't adding up at all. So I don't know to what extent he has credibility. I don't know to what extent he has any credibility. I guess it's the responsibility of the media houses to report the news. What I don't understand, though, is why is Keith Rowley holding media briefs? Keith Rowley is nowhere in the political horizon. He has no local standing right now. He's a former prime minister. He's out of it now. He's gone.
Yeah, he's a private citizen, yeah.
Yes, so why would media houses rush to hold a press conference with Keith Rowley? Who is Keith Rowley in the scheme of things right now? That is what I don't understand. The opposition leader, official opposition leader, is Penelope Beckles. So if you have to hold a press conference on that side, it has to be with the opposition leader, the official elected opposition leader. Keith Rowley is out of it, as far as I'm concerned.
I agree with you. Any closing comments? Go right ahead.
So I think the government needs to continue to plod on. The citizens, the expectations were high, and this is always the case when governments change. They need to plod on. They need to continue to be transparent and accountable, as they have been doing with the population, to just bring the facts to the people. Regardless of how bad it is, bring the facts to the people. We know the problems. We know the foreign exchange crisis. We know the crime crisis. We know the economic crisis. So we are aware of the crises in the country. The citizens are very much aware. That's why they voted the way they did in April 28th. The government needs to continue to bring the information and communicate with the population, and they need to be frank. They need to be as transparent as possible as they have been, and then they need to show the population how they're going to deal with these problems.
All right. I will, of course, be checking in with you periodically very soon. So we're going to have a part 2 to this as we continue looking at these things as they develop in the first 100 days and beyond. I want to thank you so much for taking time out this Sunday evening and bringing to us the clarity that we needed on these issues. Thank you so much again.
You're most welcome, and thank you very much for having me again.
Thank you so much. Well, folks, that was political analyst Dr. Indira Ramprasad. Take a short break. We'll be right back here on The Observer.
Where does disease start? It often begins silently. No pain, no symptoms, just inflammation quietly damaging your body. Our choices, food, stress, pollution, all feed inflammation. Chronic inflammation is the root cause of many modern diseases.
You can't go back in time, but you can start addressing inflammation before it becomes disease.
Omega XL is a natural inflammation fighter clinically researched with over 30 fatty acids and no fishy aftertaste. Available Caribbean-wide at pharmacies and health food stores. Call 1-868-225-0410 for more information.
Husqvarna, a global leader in outdoor power equipment, known for its high performance, durable and innovative products. Tested and proven by generations of professionals. Full after sales and service support whenever you need it. Contact Provar Distributors Limited, 223-9438 to find a dealer near you.
If you live with diabetes, your pancreas works overtime every single day. Between our rich foods and busy lives, chronic inflammation can sneak in, stressing the pancreas and raising the risk of complications. Over time, inflammation can damage these cells, making blood sugar harder to control.
Protecting your pancreas from inflammation is a smart way to support healthy blood sugar management.
Backed by science, Omega XL is a natural anti-inflammatory with over 30 free fatty acids, proven to help reduce inflammation at its source. Learn more online or ask your local pharmacist.
For all top quality and affordable hardware supplies, no one beats Midland Hardware, located number 97 Eastern Main Road, Arouca. Midland stocks the #1 brands in hand tools, garden tools, water taps, power washers, generators, water pumps, kitchen and bathroom faucets, along with face basins and toilet sets, blocks, lumber, steel, sand, gravel and topsoil. Also check out Midland for steel windows and assorted designs of metal curtain rods. Everything for home and business projects. Payments via links, credit cards, online payments, or cash on delivery. WhatsApp 327-7761 or call 646-2144. Open every day from 8 a.m. From foundation to finish, it's all at Midland.
Is high blood sugar the root cause of diabetes? Most people think high blood sugar is the problem. The truth, it's inflammation. Insulin resistance is the root cause of diabetes. Reducing that inflammation is key. Omega XL is a natural option. Not fish oil, but a patented green-lipped muscle extract with over 30 fatty acids, including EPA and DHA. Clinically studied, backed by over 30 years of research. Stay tuned.
Omega XL. Power your health.
When you say TNT's construction boss, then there's only one company, Lacroix Construction Services Limited, specializing in general construction, industrial maintenance, manpower resources, transportation and lifting, and equipment rental, excavators, bulldozers, dump trucks, lighting systems, and everything for your project. We have affordable prices. Call now 267-0000 or 431-0012. Lacroix Construction Services Limited, TNT's construction boss.
Your heart does so much for your body, your life, your loved ones. But modern stress, diet, and lifestyle can tip the balance, especially with every passing day. Heart XL delivers high-potency omega-7 palmitoleic acid from sustainable pollock oil to elevate HDL and support a healthy metabolism.
Inflammation and low HDL put your heart at risk. Heart XL's omega-7 helps reduce C-reactive protein and support healthy HDL, keeping your heart strong.
Heart XL, nourish your heart, sustain your life.
Oh gosh, this place hot. And the AC in this car not working.
Check Ryan Air. Ryan Air is ranked among the best in TNT for auto air conditioning service. They specialize in repairing and servicing all makes and models of vehicles and heavy equipment. They also stock a wide range of parts. Give them a call at 640-5828 or visit them at number 41 Kane Farm Road, Kakarigwa, or email ryanairac@gmail.com. For prompt and efficient service, look no further than Ryan Air.
Dust from the Saharan desert, over 6,000 kilometers away, travels across the Atlantic to our little island, filling the air we breathe with tiny dust particles that can trigger an inflammatory response when inhaled into the lungs.
Saharan dust travels far and triggers inflammation. Omega XL helps reduce it at the source. Support your body from within.
Where does disease start? It often begins silently. No pain, no symptoms, just inflammation quietly damaging your body. Our choices, food, stress, pollution, all feed inflammation. Chronic inflammation is the root cause of many modern diseases.
You can't go back in time, but you can start addressing inflammation before it becomes disease.
Omega XL is a natural inflammation fighter clinically researched with over 30 fatty acids and no fishy aftertaste. Available Caribbean-wide at pharmacies and health food stores. Call 1-868-225-0410 for more information.
Husqvarna, a global leader in outdoor power equipment, known for its high performance, durable and innovative products, tested and proven by generations of professionals. Full after-sales and service support whenever you need it. Contact Provar Distributors Limited, 223-9438 to find a dealer near you.
If you live with diabetes, your pancreas works overtime every single day. Between our rich foods and busy lives, chronic inflammation can sneak in, stressing the pancreas and raising the risk of complications. Over time, inflammation can damage these cells, making blood sugar harder to control.
Protecting your pancreas from inflammation is a smart way to support healthy blood sugar management.
Backed by science, Omega XL is a natural anti-inflammatory with over 30 free fatty acids, proven to help reduce inflammation at its source. Learn more online or ask your local pharmacist.
For all top quality and affordable hardware supplies, no one beats Midland Hardware, located number 97 Eastern Main Road, Arouca. Midland stocks the #1 brands in hand tools, garden tools, water tanks, power washers, generators, water pumps, kitchen and bathroom faucets, along with face basins and toilet sets, blocks, lumber, steel, sand, gravel and topsoil. Also check out Midland for steel windows and assorted designs of metal curtain rods. Everything for home and business projects. Payments via links, credit cards, online payments, or cash on delivery. WhatsApp 327-7761 or call 646-2144. Open every day from 8 a.m. From foundation to finish, it's all at Midland.
And we are back. Thank you so much, Master Control. And joining us is a man who is no stranger to the Observer. I know he's in the midst of everything that's taking place at UNC headquarters at this time. Let me say a pleasant good evening to the Minister of Agriculture, Land and Fisheries, Senator the Honorable Ravi Ratiram. Good evening, sir.
Hello, good evening, Mikey, and good evening to all our listeners out there.
That's right. Of course, the UNC Election Management Committee has made it quite clear the Honorable Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar, SC MP, is the duly elected political leader unopposed for a new term. What's the feeling?
Yes, definitely.
What's the feeling like down there at headquarters, Minister?
Well, it's an evening of joy at the party headquarters. Hundreds and hundreds of supporters came out this evening in support of our political leader, and the only person who has demonstrated the knowledge, the experience, the ability to pilot Trinidad and Tobago through these turbulent times that we have inherited from the previous administration to steer us on that road and on that pathway to sustainable development. So we are very happy. This evening we celebrate the re-election of our political leader and the best Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, the Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissessar.
You know, I had the Minister of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs, Senator the Honorable Sean Sobers, as well as political analyst Dr. Indira Rampersad, and you know, I wanted to get a personal perspective of what it means to to look at all that Mrs. Kamla Persad-Bissessar has achieved after taking so much political bruises and political scars, and she's still standing. What does she represent for you, Minister Ravi Ratiram?
I'll tell you something. Our Prime Minister has always been a voice for the voiceless and a defender of the people, representing the downtrodden, those who have been marginalized and victimized. And there has been a realignment with portfolios. The LSA would have been placed under the Ministry of Agriculture, Land and Fisheries to deal with the spontaneous settlers, what they would have traditionally been called squatters. And I recall many years ago, previous administration would have attempted to evict, to bulldoze people's homes and so forth. And it was Mrs. Kamla Persad-Bissessar who stood up for those squatters and who defended the rights of those squatters. And she piloted the Squatter Regularization Act so that persons would have a place that they can call home. That is just one of the many stories I could share with you of why I say she's a defender of the people, along with many others. And when you look at what she has done for children who have been waiting for life-saving surgery, for children who would have, their parents would have to do raffle and barbecue and cake sale and donation sheet so that they will be able to raise funds for their child to go away and get life-saving surgery. When Mrs. Kamala Persad-Bissessar became our Prime Minister, on the first account, the first act of that she did was to introduce the Children Life Fund. However, over the last 10 years, we have seen that the previous administration delayed in the approval of certain children, certain applications, and some of these children, had to suffer an ill fate. And the first thing that she did when she returned as our Prime Minister is she expanded the portfolio of disease and illnesses and conditions that children would have been affected by, so that more children can benefit from this Children Life Fund. Mrs. Persad-Bissessar continued to support all those who have been oppressed, marginalized, victimized, and feel as though they are abandoned and neglected. And now today, with a government being led by the Honorable Kamala Persad-Bissessar, Trinidad and Tobago can enjoy the victory. Because when UNC win, when Ms. Kamala Persad-Bissessar wins, all of Trinidad and Tobago is going to win.
Well said indeed. I know it means quite a lot for you. I know you've had quite a hectic day as well. I mean, you're now leaving headquarters, and earlier today you were in Rio Claro. Give us an insight.
Oh, yes.
Yes, sir.
So, yes, I was in Rio Claro today. I was there last night in the budget consultation with the Member of Parliament from Miaro. However, today I was invited by the Southeastern Hunters Association for the 41st annual tree planting exercise. So we would have donated some fruit trees, and I went down with my team there. I met with the game wardens. A part of the Ministry of Agriculture, Land and Fisheries is our forestry, our forest reserve, and our game wardens, and conservation of wildlife, hunting association, and all those things fall under the Ministry of Agriculture. So it was really a wonderful experience to join with the Southeastern Hunters Association this evening in their 41st annual tree planting exercise, because at the end of the day, our wildlife is a resource that exists out there that we need to also give back. So while there's a hunting season and the hunters will go and they will do what they have to do, outside and beyond the hunting season, we also have to continue to give back to ensure that the wildlife population is sustained, that they multiply, so that it is not a resource that becomes extinct. I had the opportunity to chat a little with our game wardens and with the hunters, and to identify some areas in which we can help and we can assist, because something that was very interesting is that the honorary game warden program that would have been in existence for many years, from January this year, when it would have expired, nothing was done by the former administration to continue with those honorary game wardens. And it's important for us to have the honorary game wardens, especially outside of the hunting season, because you have a lot of poaching activity takes place. So it is something that we definitely going to be engaging all the relevant stakeholders and put a program in place to see how we can expand the resource for that industry, and how we can return some honorary game wardens and put some resource to help give us the results that we are working towards.
Great. Yeah, Minister Ratiram, we've always heard all of these complaints, with the past regime, access roads, the agriculture sector is not being taken seriously. Young people are not getting involved. We're not doing enough to deal with our local food bill. And the list goes on and on. And I know for sure you have sat with your team, you've gone over these things, you've looked at different areas. It's been less than 3 months, but I'm sure that you've dealt with some low-hanging fruits, no pun intended, but you've dealt with some issues that one can look at as accomplishments in your first days in office.
Oh yes, oh yes. We within the first few days in office, we definitely have been working 24/7, meeting with all the relevant stakeholders and seeing how we can achieve to harness and pick those low-hanging fruits. So you would have seen where we would have met with the rice farmers, or from since last year they would have prepared their area, their acreage for rice cultivation, and they were not receiving their seeds. So we would have done the rice seed distribution, getting those areas back into cultivation. We have already said that 5,000 coconut seeds. We have the coconut that came in from Brazil. It's a high disease resistant, high water nut that we would have brought in from Brazil. So we have that set in our nurseries, and we're going to be distributing that across the country for farmers, so we can, introduce proper good genetics into the coconut industry. We've been meeting with the cocoa farmers to see how we can rehabilitate the cocoa estate. At one point in time, we would have had over 90,000 acres of cocoa under cultivation, and we have fallen now to around 4,000 acres. When Trinidad and Tobago fine and flavored cocoa is #1 in the world, where last year the gold medalist came from the Ecclesville area, right in the constituency of Mayaro. I had the privilege of meeting with that team in a previous consultation that I did. So those are some of the different areas that we have been tapping into. Within recent time in the agriculture sector, the pig industry had an incident that the Ministry of Agriculture moved very swift, because I don't know if you pick up at it, but about 3 weeks ago, there was a positive case of the porcine reproductive and respiratory syndrome. It's a virus that affects the pigs. And a lot of citizens was, wondering whether there will be pork for the Christmas. There's a famous parang, I want my piece of pork for the Christmas. And, citizens were a bit concerned about it. But at the Ministry of Agriculture, we moved swiftly to place that farm in quarantine. And there was another neighboring farm that was suspected. We placed that second farm in quarantine also. And we did sample testing from several farms around that area. The first farm that tested positive, we were able to fully contain the virus in that area, because none of the other farms, even the second one that was placed in quarantine, this week the chief veterinary officer has lifted that quarantine, so that farm is safe to proceed in the activities, and all the other farms in the area is safe. That farm that was originally tested positive, those animals will be removed from the system. So the long and short of it is, one, the porcine reproductive and respiratory syndrome virus is not a zoonotic disease. It cannot be transferred from animal to human beings. Humans are safe. And there are no other farms in the country that has tested positive for that virus. So our pork industry is safe. The pork meat is good for consumption, so citizens don't have to be worried about it. And I will have to use the opportunity to congratulate the officers in the Ministry of Agriculture for their swift approach. But something that stood out to me is that when these situations present themselves, there is no funding for emergency expenditures within the Ministry of Agriculture. So just last week, we would have gone to Cabinet with a note introducing a new line item for emergency situations, whether it is virus outbreaks, whether it is our fisher folk is affected with an emergency, whether it is farmers are affected with an emergency situation that present itself. There were no line items in the draft estimates to treat and deal with that. We are now going to be introducing that new line item. When we deal with the budget next year, we will be dealing with the emergency fund to treat and deal with these type of scenarios, so that the officers within the system will have the resources to protect the industry and the different sectors.
And let me ask you, there's also been some concerns over the Food and Drug Division of the Ministry of Health, reports that it has been functioning since 2014.
Well, I will leave that for the Minister of Health to speak on. There's stay in your lane, stay in your section. Right. So just as how we do it for the carnival season, I will stay in my section. But there are some matters that I know Minister of Health is working on. But I will defer that for Minister to treat and deal with at another interview.
Yeah, and again, as far as younger people getting involved, you hear that all the time, Minister Ratiram. Young people are not, embracing the agricultural opportunities. They're not getting involved. What say you?
Well, I will say that in meeting with the rice farmers, I was privileged to meet one of the Akalu's grandchildren who he was 19 years of age, and I met another person 22 years of age in the consultations that I was having at my ministry with different farming groups. And what I recognize is that agriculture is becoming so attractive to young people, especially when we are looking at introducing new technology into agriculture. There is something called freight farming that we have not really discussed as yet with the public, but it is something that we are doing some significant research into freight farming to reduce our food import bill, because we import a lot of things into Trinidad because of the climate that these grains and these commodities are produced in cooler climates and so forth, and in environments where we have to import some of these things. Freight farming is going to create the environment that will give us the lights, the climate, the water, the weather, everything. It's going to replicate that through the process of freight farming, and it is something that I'm certain those young people are going to be very much involved with. So instead of having them going out into the traditional style of agriculture, into the hot sun and the back-breaking exercise, using things like hydroponics, using indoor farming technology, it is something that we are going to make extremely attractive for not just young people, but anyone who wants to get involved, especially like the single mothers who may not have much time to go in the garden and do work in the backyard and so forth. It is something that can be it's recycled containers that will be retrofitted to do special products. We use the vertical farming technology, and even containers can be placed on top containers. But I will do a full presentation on the freight farming exercise as we go forward. But it is something that is going to be new, it's going to be modern, it's going to be technologically driven, and it is going to revolutionize the whole agriculture sector here in Trinidad and Tobago.
Before you go, I need to ask you as well. In the last administration, there was a lot of talk about food, the processing sector, but that seemed to have been monopolized, even by some of the senior government officials. I wouldn't call any names. What are you looking at as far as that entire rollout for the agro-processing sector?
Well, agro-processing is going to definitely be a big thing that this government is going to be investing into. We have to be thankful to Prime Minister Modi for the recent investment into the agro-processing sector. By his donation, the government of India would have donated $1 million in agro-processing equipment to Trinidad and Tobago. So we are in the process of setting up a cassava processing plant that is going to convert cassava into cassava flour. And we are encouraging farmers and persons who have land that is not in use. If it is you're looking for an opportunity and you're looking for something, investing into a field of cassava is actually something wonderful, because through the Ministry of Agriculture, we are going to be taking that cassava now, processing it through our agro-processing facility, and introducing more and more cassava flour on the market. Cassava flour is much healthier than the traditional wheat flour. The glycemic index is better with the cassava versus wheat, and a lot of our citizens out there are affected with things like diabetes. Cassava is healthier for those persons versus traditional wheat flour. So cassava is one area that we're going to look at, but there are several other areas of agro-processing that is going to add value to the agriculture sector, whether it is canning of pineapples, whether it is sweet potato, and we're introducing the sweet potato fries. I have already had conversations with another agro-processor who is willing to purchase over 10 tons of sweet potato on a monthly basis from our farmers. That is a wonderful opportunity, because the price that the agro-processor is offering farmers is going to be a very attractive price. So we will be doing the MOU with the players involved, and we will be publishing that, so that we will now be introducing sweet potato fries on fast food menus with very popular international fast food franchise that we may have in the country, it is something that we are going to introduce because, again, the sweet potato fries are healthier than the traditional Irish potato and the potato fries that we consume. So what we are looking at is, one, we are looking at boosting the industry and boosting production, getting more and more lands into cultivation, and then adding value to the sector through the process of agro-processing, of course.
Wonderful. Finally, I know you also mentioned recently to revisit the compensation process for farmers, those affected by flooding.
Well, that is going to extend beyond just that. It's going to extend to what is a farmer, who is registered as a farmer, who is not registered, how can persons become a farmer. People may not have the land. They would have been farming on the land for many, many years. Their grandfather, the father would have been using this land, and because they passed on, they have not been able to get the lease in their name. They can't get a farmer's badge. And when they are affected by floods and so forth, they get no support system. So we are looking at using production and persons who are producing, because you can't be good to produce during COVID, where we would have registered everybody who was producing should not have go. And we would have been buying from all these farmers out there, registered or unregistered farmers. We buy and produce during the COVID pandemic. We registered them in NAMDEVCO. NAMDEVCO is part of the Ministry of Agriculture, but the Ministry of Agriculture doesn't recognize them. So it is something that we are working on to resolve this whole problem of farmers having the challenges in getting the farmer's badge and so forth. And as soon as we get the necessary cabinet approval, we will definitely be speaking more on it as we go forward.
And the predator larceny, the squad, I know that the last time we spoke, well, that time you were in opposition, but you were talking about the fact that farmers are still going through the headache of dealing with people who are out there just hell-bent on stealing their crops.
Yeah, predator larceny has been one of the main challenges that the agriculture sector would have been facing for many, many years. It was something the predator larceny squad would have been introduced back in 2013, somewhere there, under the UNC administration. And when we left office in 2015, what we saw is that entire predator larceny squad going down. Even the vehicles and so forth, as the vehicles are out on the road, there is regular wear and tear of these vehicles, and incidents and accidents do occur to the best and safest of drivers out there. But because of the bad road conditions, there's wear and tear on the vehicles. One, we need to provide vehicles and resources for predator larceny unit. So this is something that 3 weeks ago, I would have engaged the superintendent to get all the vehicles in the predator larceny unit back up and working, and I'm happy to report that the vehicles have gotten repaired, the vehicles are back up, the fleet of vehicles belonging to the squad is working. There's a significant amount of vacancies that exist in the predator larceny unit. It is something that we are hoping in the next financial year that we should be able to fill some of those vacancies once we have the resources for it. But something that we would have discussed in our manifesto, which is integrating predator larceny with the police service, and that is something that we are in discussions with municipal police, which falls under the Minister of Rural Development and Local Government, Minister Khadija Amin, and Minister of Homeland Security, Minister Alexander. So what we are looking at is a comprehensive approach to treat and deal with the issues of predator larceny by harnessing the security apparatus to help our farmers. So a farmer may not have to leave Cedrus or Mayaro to come to Craignish or Digo Martin to come to Farm Road to treat and deal with a predator larceny matter, but they may very well be able to go to the nearest municipal station that they will get the relevant support that they need to treat and to address the predator larceny concerns that they may have in their community.
All right. Minister, any closing comments?
Well, I would first of all, I want to thank you very much, Mikey, for the work that you have been doing in, having this program and getting the information out there to our listeners. Thank all the listeners who have been with us and tuned in, and encourage them to share this platform, because I know a lot of information is disseminated through this platform. So I want to encourage them to share this platform. I want to say that, while everything else can wait, agriculture cannot wait.
So true.
Agriculture is something that contributes to our food security. This evening, we're looking to see what we're going to eat for dinner. We're looking to see what we're going to eat in the morning for breakfast. Food is something that is life. So we all have a role to play towards our national food security. And I look forward to working with all the stakeholders and all persons who wants to get involved in agriculture. Because the price of goods continue, in the market, the price of goods based on supply and demand continue to fluctuate to lows and high, that we need to find a way to regulate these and to control the increase in price of agricultural commodity. For us to do that, we need all hands on deck. So I welcome persons out there who want to get involved in agriculture. I welcome them to shoot me a line, send me an email, even if you can't, to get me and send a message to our social media platform. We will respond and we will keep in touch and see how we can empower citizens out there to become part of our agriculture drive to make Trinidad and Tobago a food secure nation.
Thank you so much. Keep up the good work, Minister. We'll be checking in with you periodically. Thank you so much for taking time out to link with us here this evening.
Thank you very much, my brother. And all the best out there to our listeners, especially for the Emancipation holiday that is coming up. I want to use the opportunity to send warm Emancipation greetings to all our brothers and sisters out there.
Thank you so much. Same to you. Thank you. Yeah, but folks, that was the Minister of Agriculture, Land and Fisheries, Senator the Honorable Ravi Ratiram. Take a short break. We'll be right back.
Where does disease start? It often begins silently. No pain, no symptoms, just inflammation quietly damaging your body. Our choices: food, stress, pollution, all feed inflammation. Chronic inflammation is the root cause of many modern diseases.
You can't go back in time, but you can start addressing inflammation before it becomes disease.
Omega XL is a natural inflammation fighter clinically researched with over 30 fatty acids and no fishy aftertaste. Available Caribbean-wide at pharmacies and health food stores. Call 1-868-225-0410 for more information.
Husqvarna, a global leader in outdoor power equipment, known for its high performance, durable and innovative products, tested and proven by generations of professionals. Full after sales and service support whenever you need it. Contact Provar Distributors Limited, 223-9438 to find a dealer near you.
If you live with diabetes, your pancreas works overtime every single day. Between our rich foods and busy lives, chronic inflammation can sneak in, stressing the pancreas and raising the risk of complications. Over time, inflammation can damage these cells, making blood sugar harder to control.
Protecting your pancreas from inflammation is a smart way to support healthy blood sugar management.
Backed by science, Omega XL is a natural anti-inflammatory with over 30 free fatty acids, proven to help reduce inflammation at its source. Learn more online or ask your local pharmacist.
For all top quality and affordable hardware supplies, no one beats Midland Hardware, located number 97 Eastern Main Road, Aruca. Midland stocks the #1 brands in hand tools, garden tools, water tanks, power washers, generators, water pumps, kitchen and bathroom faucets, along with face basins and toilet sets, blocks, lumber, steel, sand, gravel and topsoil. Also check out Midland for steel windows and assorted designs of metal curtain rods. Everything for home and business projects. Payments via links, credit cards, online payments, or cash on delivery. WhatsApp 327-7761 or call 646-2144. Open every day from 8 a.m. From foundation to finish, it's all at Midland.
Is high blood sugar the root cause of diabetes? Most people think high blood sugar is the problem. The truth, it's inflammation. Insulin resistance is the root cause of diabetes. Reducing that inflammation is key. Omega XL is a natural option. Not fish oil, but a patented green-lipped muscle extract with over 30 fatty acids, including EPA and DHA. Clinically studied, backed by over 30 years of research. Stay tuned.
Omega XL. Power your health.
When you say TNT's construction boss, then there's only one company, Lacroix Construction Services Limited, specializing in general construction, industrial maintenance, manpower resources,
transportation and lifting, and equipment rental, excavators, bulldozers, dump trucks, lighting systems, and everything for your project. We have affordable prices. Call now 267-0000 or 431-0012. Lacroix Construction Services Limited, TNT's construction boss.
Your heart does so much for your body, your life, your loved ones. But modern stress, diet, and lifestyle can tip the balance, especially with every passing day. Heart XL delivers high-potency omega-7 palmitoleic acid from sustainable pollock oil to elevate HDL and support a healthy metabolism.
Inflammation and low HDL put your heart at risk. Heart XL's omega-7 helps reduce C-reactive protein and support healthy HDL, keeping your heart strong.
Heart XL, nourish your heart, sustain your life.
Oh gosh, this place hot. And the AC in this car not working.
Check Ryan Air. Ryan Air is ranked among the best in TNT for auto air conditioning service. They specialize in repairing and servicing all makes and models of vehicles and heavy equipment. They also stock a wide range of parts. Give them a call at 640-5828 or visit them at number 41 Cane Farm Road, Tacarigua, or email ryanairac@gmail.com. For prompt and efficient service, look no further than Ryan Air.
Where does disease start? It often begins silently. No pain, no symptoms, just inflammation quietly damaging your body. Our choices: food, stress, pollution, all feed inflammation. Chronic inflammation is the root cause of many modern diseases.
You can't go back in time, but you can start addressing inflammation before it becomes disease.
Omega XL is a natural inflammation fighter clinically researched with over 30 fatty acids and no fishy aftertaste. Available Caribbean-wide at pharmacies and health food stores. Call 1-868-225-0410 for more information.
Husqvarna, a global leader in outdoor power equipment, known for its high performance, durable and innovative products, tested and proven by generations of professionals. Full after sales and service support whenever you need it. Contact Provar Distributors Limited, 223-9438 to find a dealer near you.
If you live with diabetes, your pancreas works overtime every single day. Between our rich foods and busy lives, chronic inflammation can sneak in, stressing the pancreas and raising the risk of complications. Over time, inflammation can damage these cells, making blood sugar harder to control.
Protecting your pancreas from inflammation is a smart way to support healthy blood sugar management.
Backed by science, Omega XL is a natural anti-inflammatory with over 30 free fatty acids, proven to help reduce inflammation at its source. Learn more online or ask your local pharmacist.
For all top quality and affordable hardware supplies, no one beats Midland Hardware, located number 97 Eastern Main Road, Arouca. Midland stocks the #1 brands in hand tools, garden tools, water taps, power washers, generators, water pumps, kitchen and bathroom faucets, along with face basins and toilet sets, blocks, lumber, steel, sand, gravel and topsoil. Also check out Midland for steel windows and assorted designs of metal curtain rods. Everything for home and business projects. Payments via links, credit cards, online payments, or cash on delivery. WhatsApp 327-7761 or call 646-2144. Open every day from 8 a.m. From foundation to finish, it's all at Midland.
Is high blood sugar the root cause of diabetes? Most people think high blood sugar is the problem. The truth, it's inflammation. Insulin resistance is the root cause of diabetes. Reducing that inflammation is key. Omega XL is a natural option. Not fish oil, but a patented green-lipped muscle extract with over 30 fatty acids, including EPA and DHA. Clinically studied, backed by over 30 years of research. Stay tuned.
Omega XL. Power your health.
When you say TNT's construction boss, then there's only one company, Lacroix Construction Services Limited, specializing in general construction, industrial maintenance, manpower resources, transportation and lifting, and equipment rental, excavators, bulldozers, dump trucks, lighting systems, and everything for your project. We have affordable prices. Call now 267-0000 or 431-0012. Lacroix Construction Services Limited, TNT's construction boss.
Your heart does so much for your body, your life, your loved ones. But modern stress, diet, and lifestyle can tip the balance, especially with every passing day. Heart XL delivers high-potency omega-7 palmitoleic acid from sustainable pollock oil to elevate.
Yes, indeed. We are back. Looking on at the pictures there. Hey, don't forget, folks, Omega XL. Our bodies are under stress from environmental toxins to work stress to poor food choices and low nutrients in the food we eat. Our bodies are under a lot of stress, and all of these can lead to high inflammation levels, and excessive inflammation can lead to a large number of health problems that cause pain and damage to the body. Pick up your omega-3 fatty acids that help the body reduce inflammation. So pick up your bottle of Omega XL today. Hey, the lines are open. Let me open the lines. We were supposed to get in touch with the minister in the Ministry of Housing, Senator the Honorable Philip Alexander, but he says he's conducting a Stand Your Ground conference at Queen's Hall. And he does apologize, but the lines are still open. We're going to get him in here. So the lines are open, 225-9790, 225-9790. And for those of you wanting to make a WhatsApp call, 494-0938, 494-0938. Get it on the inside. As you can see, put it up again there, Master Control. It was quite a crowd down there, boy. And I know we have some footage too, so, everybody may have left look at people that came out. And those of you now joining us, perhaps you didn't hear the news, but the UNC Election Management Committee announced after 4 p.m. today, July 27th, 2025, that the Honorable Prime Minister Kamla Prasad Bisesa, SCMP, is the duly elected political leader unopposed for a new term. Yes. Again, the lines are open, 225-9790. You can make your WhatsApp calls, 494-0938. Those of you have been asking for the t-shirts and for the interviews later on, so if you need to check out any of our interviews, just go to our website, theobservertt.com. That's theobservertt.com, and you'll be able to get all the interviews. Today's interviews, this evening's interviews, will be, of course, later on tonight, or at least first thing in the morning. So remember, theobservertt.com. We'll tell you more about that. We won't be here next Sunday. So Master Control, at least you're hearing it live. We won't be here next Sunday, but we'll be back on the 10th of August, Sunday, August 10th, right here, same place. We are putting some things together, so we're taking some time to get it all ready for you. That's right, the Observer is moving up, up, up. Sky's the limit. So again, if you need to get more information, check out our website, theobservertt.com, and you get the info. The lines are open. Want to hear from you on the outside, 225-9790. And for you who want to make the WhatsApp call, 494-0938. This evening you heard from the Minister of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs, the Honorable Sean Sobers, political analyst, Dr. Indira Ramprasad, very interesting. She had quite a lot to say. And of course, you just heard from the Minister of Agriculture, Land and Fisheries, Senator the Honorable Ravi Ratiram. So a lot is taking place. And again, I think the importance here is having the Observer and programs like this that is going to bring to you the real information. I mean, if you listen to some people weighing in on the entire geopolitical issue and our diplomatic status, they're telling you that, oh, Trinidad, they don't want us anymore. People don't want us there. They're doing everything to keep us out of their country. And so, no, I mean, You heard the minister himself talking about the fact that he's been in discussions with many of our regional and international leaders, all the stakeholders involved. He's also dealing with the issue with that UK visa that many people have been complaining about. He shed some light on the issue with Bermuda, sorry, Bermuda, and what have you. So quite interesting. So yeah, still getting over kind of rough little the dust and what have you in the air. But the sinus is well and ready to go. So folks, again, 225-9790 and 494-0938. You can weigh in on the issue. And again, we will be back here on the 10th of August. That's Sunday, August 10th. And we're going to be bringing you some serious information. So you don't want to miss that. And again, the Honorable Kamala Prasad Visesa, Prime Minister, SCMP, unopposed, and again, serving in the capacity as political leader of the United National Congress. Does it come as a surprise to you? I mean, does it come, you know, many people were saying that I don't think anybody would even try to entertain the thought of putting their hat in the ring or, you know, going up there and opposing her. My thing was, there were so many people who had so much to say. How come they didn't, this was their golden opportunity, man. So, you know, I found it strange. Good evening. All right, we missed that one. 225-9790. 225-97. Yes. Hello? Oh, boy. Try it again. If not, you can make a WhatsApp call or try the 225-9790. Master Control, I hope we don't have an issue with the lines. Those of you. But did it come as a surprise to you? I mean, you know, people were like, well, nobody, as the Prime Minister, nobody in that thing to go and put herself there. But so many people waited on the fact that, you know, she was this, she was that, she was, it's time that she pack up and go. But this was the time, and she said it at a Monday night report. She said, made it quite clear on stage. You want it? Come fit. And nobody showed up. There were no takers. So, I mean, you know, I think there are people who would have understood when it was said to them, look, listen, man, all right, let me try this different here. Hello? Yeah, good evening. Yes, hello?
Is this the Observer?
Yes, it is.
I'd like to get in on the program.
You're on the program. Go ahead.
Well, Mikey.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a little problem, and I know this is concerning problem right now. What happened? The wife is having a little problem with her old age pension to start getting it. I don't know if there's a number I could get on to someone who I could speak to concerning that.
All right, and that's a health issue?
No. It's not a health issue. What happened, she did some traveling. And what happened, on the passport doesn't have the date, on the stamp that she returned back. So the officer, the pension office is insisting that we have to get a date that she traveled. But we are having a problem on that.
All right. Here what? Yeah, that's immigration division, so that would be an issue. Was that Control?
What's that?
She has to go down to the immigration division.
Where is that?
That's in Port of Spain or Richmond Street.
Okay, but do you have a number for them there?
Here what? Give me a call after 10 a.m. tomorrow. Just give me a WhatsApp call or call me direct, 494-0938.
Okay, good, I'll do that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that. All right, I am looking at a issue here, which is quite interesting. Yes, good evening.
Hello.
Yeah, you're live.
Mikey?
Yes, I'm here. Mikey here. Go ahead.
Bob, I want to find out something, and you might be the man to tell me this. In a scenario, let me just say, one of these, for some reason, there was the internal election for the political leader. If the political leader was changed, right? What would happen with the present prime ministership? That the new political leader would go in that position, or how does the constitution handle that?
Yeah, but that wouldn't affect the prime ministership, you know. This is a party. This is a party election. All right. So the party has its own constitution. Okay. Right. So that person would just go in and will be in the capacity of political leader of the United National Congress.
Right. And what
The prime minister would still remain the prime minister.
Oh, okay. All right, and I'm glad you clarified that further.
Is that why you didn't put your nomination in?
Maybe next time. But I noticed we had a lot of detractors and a lot of people who had problems with the leadership of the UNC, and for the last year, and I noticed none of them put up their name for this one.
I thought I was so surprised. They had so much to say. I mean, you had people who made videos and were criticizing and was harsh with their comments. And you know, according to the prime minister, she said, if you want it, then come get it.
Exactly, and now was the perfect opportunity for them to come out and put up their name and vie for the position.
Yeah.
And that really changes they wanted to make, they could have do it.
I don't understand why they didn't simply just, you know, put their...
It's like all of them gone quiet for the last 2 months. We are hearing nothing from them.
Well, you know, some of them would tell you, boy, regardless of what, nah, she go win that. But listen, if you thought you were so good at it, if you thought that you would make a better leader, this was your golden opportunity.
You know, we just had the same problem in the unions when it comes to leadership. You know that?
Now, I'm not surprised.
Everybody does have a problem with the leader. You're seeing the bad mouthing name all over the media. Anywhere you go, the bad mouthing him. And when they had the opportunity to vie for the position, none of them don't show up.
No.
Not one of them they show up to put the name.
You're right.
And from the time the election over, they just started to bad mouth them again.
Yeah, that person ain't good enough.
Yeah,
but you had an opportunity.
Yeah, we're going to see what happens.
We will see what happens.
And congratulations to the leader.
See, yeah, I agree. Thanks a lot.
Let me see if we can make a little 15 years inside it.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Yeah, thank you. Congratulations to the leader indeed, man. Congratulations to the leader. You know, everybody had something to say, but yet still, just to give you from the media release to all the media personnel, from Ramesh Prasad Maharaj, who was the chairman of the Elections Management Committee of the UNC. He said that today, 27 July 2025, nomination day for the post of political leader of the United National Congress. And we confirm that as of 4 p.m. today, there's no other candidate for the post of political leader of the United National Congress. So very, no surprise, I believe. Yeah, good evening, welcome.
Hello, good evening.
Hey, good evening. Yeah, how are you?
I am okay. How are you doing?
Well, just fighting the fight.
Okay. This is the Observer program?
Yes, it is. You're live. Go right ahead.
Okay. Here what? I want to make a comment live. What happened? I had mentioned this on a few occasions here concerning the senior citizen pension, right?
Right, yes.
And I have been calling these people in the offices, in the local office, which is in Sunny Grande, also to the ministry. I spoke to a couple of people in the ministry. And when they called when we had called the local office, they said that my files is at the NID office, and they're waiting on the file. That is probably about 5 or 6 months now. And last week I had called them, and the same thing they told me again. I trying to figure out, well, what is the keep back with that files in the NIB office. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. And I know he's not the only one. I know he's not the only one. I know that people say that it takes time. Yes, it does take time, but I mean, how long? How long? And he has been trying his best to get this thing rectified, but yet still he's been getting a runaround. And all of this is new things that we're going to implement here on the Observer. I mean, I think it's unfair that many people get a runaround, but again, you know, listening to Dr. Indira Ramprasad, yes, we may have a culture that we believe that we expect to get everything at once, but that's not humanly possible. So we are going to try to see how much we can break up the red tape and the bureaucracy and get the issues into the hands of the people who have to deal with it. So I will be, of course, liaising with certain individuals to help, because we've had many questions. This guy that called about immigration is no surprise. There are people who simply don't even know the basics to go about and getting their passport. You know, they don't know where to go. There are certain questions that they like answered, what have you. There are married couples, people who are married to individuals who are not born citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, but they do have their resident status over the time, and they want to know exactly things that they can do and, you know, what channels and what have you. So we are going to try our best to assist you and cut through the red tape. That's going to be one of our segments, cutting through the red tape and giving the information that you need and the questions that you want answered to you. So please, as I said, on August 10th, we will be back here, God willing, and we will be having some new segments to assist you and try to see how best we could change this culture of people who believe that it's their God-given right to have things and to have access to things, when in fact it is meant for all of us as tax-paying citizens. So it's not going to be easy, but I believe we're up to the task, and I believe with your assistance and your help, we can definitely get it done. So if there are issues that you need addressed, things that you need as far as questions, now I'm going to be honest with you, we're not going to just be able to solve everything, but we will try to assist you and get you in the right direction and speak to the right people who can look after your interests and give you the answers that you deserve. So August 10th, we'll be right back here. And again, our website, I want to remind you, theobservertt.com, theobservertt.com. We're going to have a gallery there so you can be able to purchase certain things. We're going to put things there for you, the t-shirts and other things, gourmet sauces, you name it. And we're also going to be kicking off our campaign where it is that we'll be trying to help save the lives of the women here of TNT. Too many of them are being abused, and we're losing too many of our women here in Trinidad and Tobago due to violence. So we will try, of course, to deal with that. Let me just take this last call. Yes, good evening, sir. Welcome.
Yeah, Mikey.
Yes, go ahead.
Felix, yeah.
Hey,
I don't
Felix.
know if I watching your live. Yeah, I don't know if I watching your live, but
Yes, I am live. Go ahead, Felix. Go ahead.
Yeah, you said the Minister of Agriculture was.
So on that.
All right, pal. Yeah,
All
we were
right.
talking.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. I mean, people are interested. They're interested. And they don't want to get caught up in small talk and everything else that is irrelevant. People want answers to what interests them the most. Folks, that brings us to the end of the program. August 10th, we'll be back. The Observer, again, check out our website, theobservertt.com, theobservertt.com, and get all the interviews and information. Until then, we are out of here.
By overwhelming demand, unfiltered, not filthy.